Hi, I'm Rick Peterson, 3P Sports. I'm here with Jim Duquette, former GM of the New York Mets, former GM of the Baltimore Orioles, one of the thought leaders in evaluating amateur talent. So Jim, tell us, as you go out to evaluate young pitchers and young talent, what is the process? What do you look for?
Well, I've had the opportunity to go out and evaluate some of the top pitchers in the draft, top amateur pitchers, college, high school, go to international, down to the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Venezuela. There's certain things that you're looking for and certain common things that you're looking for. The main thing, other than size and physical presence, which every pitcher at the highest level needs, one of the main things that I look for is a clean delivery in pitchers. And the key with that clean delivery, unfortunately, we don't see an awful lot of it. And what will end up happening in the 18, 19, 20-year-old range is you'll see a kid, it has the good size, it looks like he has the arm strength, but then you take a look at the delivery and you don't see a consistency. You see potential for injury, and that, as an executive, as a scouting director, makes me shy away from those type of pitchers. Now, I'm curious because it's something you can see with the eye, you can also see it with the video, and it reminds me of a story I remember you telling me when you first joined us with the Mets, when you used to evaluate the top pitchers for the Oakland A's. Billy Beane would have you go and evaluate it, and the story about the top draft pick, he was going to go in the top 5, top 10, and you went ahead and made an evaluation of a guy and identified potential injury. Could you tell us a little bit about that story?
Well, yeah, it's interesting, and Billy would always have me look at maybe the top 20 potential draft picks for the draft, and you would go through, and you're only looking for red flags, because we know that there are 5 major red flags in the delivery, and if you have one of those, you're at a major risk of injury. And so as we're looking at this one particular pitcher, it actually was sad, because here's a guy throwing 95, 96 miles an hour. He's a junior in college, and he was going to be, at that point, maybe one of the top picks in the country. And Billy came in and said, "Rick, what about this guy?" And I literally dropped my head and said, "Billy, this is an injury waiting to happen. This is a shoulder. He has one of these major red flags," and I pointed out why. And he said, "Rick, he may be the #1 pick in the country." And I said, "Wow, that's really sad." And he ended up getting shoulder problem in college. He ended up dropping to 20th in the country, and he's had chronic shoulder problem ever since. And what's a shame is we know now through this 3P program that all can be prevented if that's caught early.
No, it really can. I think even when you go from that age 18 all the way down, and I have an opportunity to see the amateurs all the way down to age 10 or 9, I think that's the biggest single issue is the throwing mechanics. They're not throwing properly, and they really are risking injuries. I remember you saying something about Dr. Andrews. The seeds of the injury starts way back at the amateur level, way back at it can go back even to age 9, 10, 11 years old. So it is important to be able to address that in an early age.
It certainly is. I mean, #1, you have to have proper throwing mechanics before you can have proper pitching mechanics, and I think throwing is one of the major issues, and the injuries are just epidemic. And I think as a great evaluator, as you've identified in the amateur draft, is the same thing that we see on the professional market. And now to be able to get down to the amateur market and truly make a difference and make sure that these kids are trained properly. And Dr. Andrews said it best, this is a prehab program, so you either do the prehab program or come see us for the rehab program.